Most companies redesign their offices and nothing actually changes. Same problems, same frustrations, just new furniture. And it's not because they didn't spend enough money, it's because they designed it backwards. Most companies think if we update our office, things will improve. So they start where it feels natural: new furniture, new finishes, new paint colors, maybe a new layout. And on the surface, it looks like progress. It feels productive. It feels like momentum. It feels like you're doing something. Because design visually is the most obvious part of an office. It's what you can see, it's what you can react to, it's what people comment on. So the assumption becomes if it looks better, it will work better. But what I see over and over again is this: the office is still functioning exactly the same. The same interruptions are happening, the same lack of focus, the same underused spaces, and the same tension remains between teams because nothing underneath actually changed. The office didn't become more productive, it didn't become easier to use, it didn't start supporting better decisions. It just looks different. And this is where most projects quietly fail, not visually, but operationally. So, what happens? Nothing actually changes except money was spent. And worse than that, now leadership is rightfully frustrated because you invested in this. Why isn't it working? Employees are frustrated because this still doesn't support how I work. And the office becomes something people tolerate instead of something that actually helps them perform. This is where offices turn into a cost center because they're not doing anything for the business. It's like the Field of Dreams. The initial plot of land was a cornfield where the purpose, the goal, the intended result was for corn to grow. But if you build it, they will come implied that a baseball field was needed. And as we all know, you can't play baseball in a cornfield. So, because the purpose changed, the space required needed to change. So, if you're designing or if you're providing a space for your employees that is for the traditional pre COVID heads down type of work, it's not going to work for the current hybrid type of work that we're doing now, 6 years post COVID. The problem isn't the furniture, it's not the layout, it's not even the finishes. The problem is that the office was never treated like infrastructure. Your office is not decoration. It's an operational infrastructure. It should function the same way your systems function, your processes function, technology functions. It should support how work actually gets done. It should reduce friction. It should improve clarity. It should reinforce how your business operates. But when you start with decoration, all of that gets skipped. And people end up making surface level decisions on top of deeper problems. The real issue is what I call decoration first thinking. What should it look like? What's the style? What color should we use? Those aren't bad questions. They're just asked way too early. And because when those become the starting point, design becomes something to be seen, not something to perform. And that's why the results feel flat. They feel safe, generic, and replaceable because they were never tied to anything meaningful. It's like a cupcake. Like when you go to a bakery, okay, maybe I might be dating myself, but they'll have all of these display cakes for people to look at and say, I like this one, I like that one. Those are styrofoam, obviously. And the frosting on top is what makes it look good. But if you were to serve that to someone, that would be a horrible cake because styrofoam is not the desired result. An amazing piece of cake is the desired result. The frosting is just what makes it look pretty, what communicates the event, the birthday, the communion, the wedding. And so that's the same with an office space. If you provide just a hollow shell of an office, you're going to get a hollow shell of production. And if it's decorated real beautifully, well, that's fine, but the hollow shell still exists. And that's where I see a lot of offices falling flat. The design decisions should be tied to what the business needs the office to do, not what it should look like, what it needs to do. And when you shift that, everything changes. This is the framework I use, and it flips the entire purpose. First of all, you need to identify the strategy. What are you actually trying to achieve? Not vague goals like collaboration or culture, real outcomes. Are you trying to attract better talent, improve retention, support hybrid work, reduce burnout? All of those things are critical in making sure the right selections are identified and made during the design process. If you don't define this, nothing else has direction. Operations. How does work actually happen? Not how you think it happens or how you want it to happen, but what's really going on. So many times I'll meet with decision makers and they'll tell me how they want their office space to look. But once the project is installed, I have employees telling me that I don't know why. They don't know why I gave them that desk because that's not how they work. It's too small, it's too big. They list all of the problems. And that was an example of the decision makers assuming or wanting their office to look a certain way, but it didn't support the work that was actually being done. So you really need to know what's going on. Where are people getting interrupted? Where are things slowing down? Where are handoffs breaking? This is where the friction lives, and friction is the real design problem. So now that you've identified the problems, now you can look at the space and start to see how it can be designed, adjusted so that it works better. So what type of environments are actually needed? Focus space, collaboration space, private or social space, or do these spaces all need to exist, but they need to be flexibly adjusted as needs change at a rapid pace? You don't just need to say you need desks and conference rooms, but a system of spaces that support different ways of working. And finally, what should it look like? The part everybody loves and everybody wants to play with. And I don't blame you. I love playing there too, but you need to know what you're designing for. So now the finishes can actually mean something. They reinforce your brand. They support maintenance. They signal quality. They communicate who you are. Now design isn't decoration, it's communication. And this is why this works. When you follow this order, you're not guessing, you're not reacting, and you're not copying trends. You are building something intentional in a business space that reflects uniquely what you, your worker bees, and your company does. And the result of it is an office that works better, feels better, performs better, because it was designed to. Most offices aren't failing because of bad taste. They're failing because of the wrong starting point. They were designed from the outside in. What they needed was to be designed from the inside out. If you're looking at your office and thinking, this isn't working, and you don't know why, that's exactly where this process starts. And this is exactly why I started this channel. I'll walk you through how to identify what your office actually needs to do before you make a single design decision. This is Designed to Work, and I'm Tina. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.